Tonight, we're investigating one of the most baffling disappearances in modern entertainment history, the case of the girl who was supposed to save rock and roll. In 2018, Courtney Hadwin didn't just perform on America's Got Talent. She caused a seismic shift in the industry, racking up hundreds of millions of views and earning comparisons to legends like Janis Joplin and James Brown. But shortly after the confetti settled, the trail went cold. While other contestants were releasing chart-topping hits and appearing on every late-night talk show, Courtney seemed to vanish into the shadows of the British countryside. For years, fans have been asking if she was just another victim of the reality TV curse, or if something more coordinated was happening behind closed doors. Now, in 2026, new evidence suggests that Courtney wasn't hiding. She was being held back by the very industry that claimed to discover her. We've tracked her journey from the bright lights of Hollywood to the gritty underground clubs of London to find out exactly what happened to the girl who once had the world at her feet. What happens when the man who promised you the world suddenly loses his empire? Our investigation begins with the sudden and quiet dissolution of Syco Music, the powerhouse label headed by Simon Cowell. When Courtney signed her post-show deal, she was entering a stable that had produced global icons like One Direction and Leona Lewis. However, by 2020, the label underwent a massive internal restructuring that essentially left its developmental artists in a state of professional paralysis. Sources close to the situation suggest that Courtney was caught in a holding pattern, where she was legally barred from releasing music independently, but wasn't being prioritized for a major rollout by the shifting corporate guard. It was a classic case of being shelved, a term used when a label owns your voice but refuses to let the world hear it. For a teenager who had just tasted global fame, this period was described by insiders as a creative nightmare. She was forced to sit on the sidelines during her most formative years, watching the momentum of her golden buzzer moment evaporate in real time. This wasn't a lack of talent or a lack of work ethic. It was a legal gridlock that kept one of the most unique voices of a generation silenced for nearly half a decade. The industry often treats young talent as disposable assets, and in the chaos of the Syco transition, it appears Courtney Hadwin was simply left in the pending folder, while the corporate giants focused on more commercial, predictable pop acts. This forced hiatus led to widespread speculation about her health and well-being, but the reality was far more clinical. It was all about the fine print of a contract that prioritized profit over the artist's soul. Behind the scenes, a war was being waged over who Courtney Hadwin was actually supposed to be. As our reporting moved deeper into the 2022-2023 period, we uncovered a significant creative rift between Courtney and her then-management. The industry machine wanted to polish her, to smooth out the gravel in her voice, and trade her wild, eccentric movements for choreographed pop routines. They were looking for the next Ariana Grande, but Courtney was determined to be the next Mick Jagger. This fundamental disagreement resulted in dozens of unreleased tracks that will likely never see the light of day. Producers tried to push her toward synth-heavy tracks and radio-friendly lyrics, but Courtney reportedly refused to compromise the raw, retro energy that made her a viral sensation in the first place. This standoff is what led to the long silence that many mistook for a retirement. It takes an incredible amount of guts for a young artist to say no to the people holding the checkbook, especially when your career is on the line. But Courtney's refusal to become a product meant that she had to wait out the clock. By 2024, she had successfully navigated her way out of those restrictive deals, though the cost was years of lost time. The narrative that she flopped or faded away is a convenient cover for the fact that she was actually fighting a high-stakes battle for her own creative identity. She wasn't interested in being a one-hit wonder on the top 40 charts. She wanted a career with longevity, even if it meant starting over from scratch in the underground scene. This period of exile was her training ground, where she transitioned from a contestant to a true musician, learning the business side of the industry the hard way so she would never be silenced again. The missing star finally broke her silence, but she didn't do it through a major label. She did it through a revolution. By early 2025, the music industry was stunned when Courtney Hadwin bypassed the traditional gatekeepers entirely. Instead of seeking a new multi-million-dollar deal with a legacy label, she leaned into the independent model, utilizing digital distribution and direct-to-fan engagement. This move coincided with the release of her debut project, Miss Jagged, which served as a musical manifesto of her independence. The tracks were unpolished, loud, and unapologetically rock-heavy, everything the labels told her wouldn't sell. Our analysts noted that while she didn't have the massive marketing budget of a major studio, her engagement numbers were through the roof. The Hadwin Army, a dedicated fan base that had stayed loyal through the years of silence, mobilized to push her music into the indie charts. This wasn't just about music. It was a proof of concept that a reality TV star could survive without the machine. The lyrics of her new songs often allude to the monsters she faced in the industry, vague references to executives and handlers who tried to dim her light. By taking control of her masters and her brand, Courtney effectively exposed the flaws in the talent show pipeline. She proved that the golden buzzer is often a double-edged sword. It gives you the platform, but it also hands over your freedom to people who might not have your best interests at heart. In 2025, she wasn't just a singer. She became a case study for how to reclaim your power in a digital age where the fans, not the executives, hold the ultimate power. This shift allowed her to experiment with a darker aesthetic and more complex themes, moving away from the novelty act label that had haunted her since 2018. In February of this year, a single performance in a small London club sent shockwaves through the industry, proving the legend was very much alive. We sent a team to London to investigate reports of a secret residency Courtney was holding in the Camden area, the same stomping grounds where icons like Amy Winehouse once honed their craft. What we found was a performer who had completely shed her shy skin. The 2026 version of Courtney Hadwin is a powerhouse of confidence, commanding the stage with a level of theatricality that rivals the greatest rock stars of the 70s. The voice, which many feared would have thinned out as she grew older, has actually deepened and become even more resonant. It's a shattering sound that captures the frustration and the fire of her missing years. This grassroots approach has done more for her reputation than any televised appearance ever could. She's winning over the critics who once dismissed her as a manufactured teen star. There are now credible rumors from industry insiders that a massive global tour is in the final stages of planning for late 2026, which would mark her formal return to the United States. Furthermore, sources suggest she has been in talks with major film studios to contribute to a high-profile biopic soundtrack, a move that would perfectly align with her soulful, cinematic sound. She's no longer the girl who looks like she's about to faint on stage. She's the woman who looks like she owns it. The return of Courtney Hadwin isn't just a comeback. It's a reintroduction to an artist who has finally found her footing after years of being pushed around. She is living proof that while fame can be fleeting, true talent is resilient. The buzz in London is that she is currently the most sought-after, independent artist in the UK, with major festivals vying for her signature. The closing statement, the price of the buzzer. As we conclude our investigation, the truth about Courtney Hadwin in 2026 is clear. She didn't fail the industry failed her. Her journey serves as a stark reminder that behind every golden buzzer and every viral video, there is a human being navigating a world of complex contracts and corporate interests. Courtney's missing years weren't a sign of weakness, but a sign of incredible strength. The strength to wait, to fight, and to eventually emerge as the artist she was always meant to be. As she prepares for what looks to be a career-defining year, one question remains. Are we witnessing the birth of the last great rock star? In an era of AI-generated pop and social media influencers, Courtney Hadwin represents something dangerously authentic. She survived the Syco era, she survived the labels, and she survived the silence. For those who have been waiting since 2018, the wait is officially over. The girl who once hid behind her hair is now standing center stage, and this time, she isn't going anywhere. This has been an investigative report into the life and career of a legend in the making. Only time will tell if the world is finally ready for the real Courtney Hadwin, but based on what we've seen in 2026, she's more than ready for the world. It makes you wonder how many other voices are currently being kept in the dark, waiting for their own chance to finally break free.